let's do this thing. Testing is the pinnacle to being a good talent. You use images that you get from test shoots to send to your agents so that they can have fresh images to submit you to clients with. Testing gets you in a rhythm. It allows you to not get rusty. So when you show up on a job, you're not, trying to get the flow back. You stay in tune with yourself. You use these images also for social media. You market yourself there. Clients look at you there. There's a lot of benefits to booking test shoots. And in fact, regularly testing is one of the top 3 ways to maintain a really good relationship with your agents. It shows them that you are on top of it. It shows them that you care about yourself and getting better in this industry. It shows them that you're working even when you're not working. Test shoots are also a great way to network. You meet different people. You meet makeup artists, hairstylists, photographers, creative directors, videographers. You meet all these different people who they themselves have voices in the industry, have say on who gets booked for work in the industry. And because of a good test shoot, you yourself could get more work just from, getting creative with somebody. Sometimes it makes sense to pay for test shoots, but I dive more into that in my video called How to Build a Modeling Portfolio. It's linked here somewhere. Go ahead, check that out after this. But for today's video, how do you go about approaching photographers to do a free test shoot? I, a photographer, get reached out to daily from models who want to test for free. It doesn't always make sense to pay, right? Like you can't pay to test 3 times a week. So yeah, models do free test shoots. Photographers do free test shoots. But let me tell you, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about approaching somebody to test for free. So let's jump back into it. 10 things here to help you book free test shoots. These are things that I've experienced that make me want to work with a model more for free when they do these things, as well as things that help you just not come off the wrong way and might give you a bad reputation, even from just sending out messages that you may not think are that bad, but on the receiving side, it could sound a little curt. And if that's our first impression of you, it could be maybe not the best first impression that you want to give someone. So let me help you out. Follow along with these 10 things. First, most photographers do the occasional free test. Don't be misled and think that they don't. But also, don't think that that's all they do. The reasons why a photographer might test for free is because they're trying to try something out with some new gear, some new lighting, a new style. Maybe they want to try and expand their audience by reaching out to your audience when you post to your social media. Maybe they want to add a new connection to someone like your agency that they maybe don't work with or haven't worked with yet. These are all ways, albeit indirectly, that a photographer might use a free test to try and acquire new paying clients for themselves. Second, post your work. Instagram is still king when it comes to social media for creators. So you want to post your professional work from previous test shoots, previous jobs, to showcase that you are a working talent, that you are working not just occasionally, but frequently. Photographers want to see that you are working. They want to see you post your professional works, not just iPhone pictures from a night out at dinner, not just flowers and sunsets. They want to see you and what you've done so that they could also know that you are a professional, what type of work you normally do, your skills as a model. These are all ways that they will decide whether or not they want to work with you. And if you don't have those images on your Instagram, on your social channels, then you're not helping yourself. You're not optimizing your opportunity to get that free test. Third, in those images that you post, make sure you are tagging your crew. You tag your photographer, you tag your hair and makeup artist, your stylist. You tag the people who worked with you to create those images. And Tag them on the first picture, not buried 3, 4, 5, 6 pictures in a carousel. Again, photographers utilize social media to try and find new clients. And if you're going to bury their tag in the back of a carousel or not tag them at all, then what's their incentive to want to work with you? It doesn't matter if you do that sometimes or you do it all the time where you don't tag somebody. Every photo deserves a tag. Furthermore, there is no statute of limitations when it comes to tagging on posts. Doesn't matter if that shoot was from 2 years ago. If you post it, tag the people who worked on that set with you. Fourth, follow the photographer before you send them a message. It's always weird to get a DM from a model that says, "Hey, love your work, would love to work with you," but they don't even follow you. It's kind of lame. Then, as you're getting ready to send them a message, maybe think about liking a few photos, maybe commenting. It helps get their attention because it doesn't just go into, that photographer's requested folder. And then send them a message that's as simple as, "Hey, I love your work, would love to create some time." Maybe throw an exclamation point in there. It could be simple, but the more personable you are, the better. Just please don't be monotoned and indifferent. The amount of messages that I get that sound like, "Hey, let's work sometime," period. That doesn't do it for me. That's not gonna help me want to work with you. The first impression I get from a line like that is just that you're not gonna be that fun to work with on set. Sixth, if a photographer responds to you and sends you their, model test rate packages, just be nice. I know that's not what you were looking for. You were trying to get a free test. But coming off as a jerk is a terrible way to make an impression, and word spreads when that's your type of attitude. You could also just not respond at all, but that's not great either. It's like, you reached out to us because you like our work, and doing paid tests, it's also a way that we make money as photographers. So the best thing that you could do is just send a nice response. Be like, "Hey, thank you so much. In the future, when I'm budgeting for a paid test, I'll definitely keep this in mind." Leave it at that. Simple. You may or may not even consider them in the future for a paid test, but it doesn't matter. Just be nice. Again, these are all ways that your reputation and your rapport in the industry is being built and spread. So don't be a jerk. Don't be indifferent. Just be nice. This next one, 7. I bet you don't even think about sometimes, but it's key. If a photographer agrees to do a test with you, when you're sharing mood board and inspiration images, include that photographer's work in that mood board. Trust me. It's one of those things as a photographer where it lets us know that you actually do value our work and our vision. If you send us a mood board that has a bunch of images of one other photographer and only one other photographer, it's like, why don't you go work with that guy instead of working with me? If you send a bunch of images that don't have that photographer's work in it at all, it's like, do you want our work or do you just want some work? Ultimately, that's the photographer that you're working with. So that's the type of images you're going to get. So include their images because that's the best reference possible to what you're going to get specifically from them. 8, when you show up on set, 1, show up on time. 2, communicate if you're running late. 3, just try to be a good talent on set. Be friendly, enjoy yourselves. You both are donating your time. You might as well as make it fun, make it enjoyable. At the end of the day, you want to enjoy the process of the work that you're creating and have good memories associated with those images that you create. And again, this goes back to networking. These are all opportunities where you're building a name for yourself. And if you show up, maybe not in the best of mood, maybe things are going on in your life that aren't like that great. Just put your game face on and do the best you can. Just be professional, have fun the best you can, and enjoy it. 9. Now, when you do this, you're going to do this because you liked working with that photographer. And this is a really nice thing to do where when you send those images that you get back from that photographer and you send them to your agency so that they could add them to your book, include that photographer's name and contact info. It's a small thing, but for a photographer that you enjoyed working with, it can really help that photographer out in booking more work. Furthermore, if you really had an issue with a photographer, maybe share that information too. If they were a problem, if you had a really bad experience because they were rude, mean, inappropriate, offensive, anything like that, I would also share that with your agency, because that agency can then put that photographer on a list that they have and just be like, okay, we need to be wary of sending our models to this photographer. That's helping out your fellow models so that they also don't get stuck into a bad situation like you did. 10, don't edit, crop, Facetune, put filters on these images that you get back from photographers. They worked hard to take them. They worked hard and a long time to edit them. Just be cognizant of that effort. For a photographer, it's kind of a slap in the face if you do that to them. And I know you have your own aesthetic and your own vibe that you want to try and adhere to, but if you're planning on throwing a filter on, then tell your photographer ahead of time. Be like, hey, listen, like I want things to look a certain way for my feed. Like, tell them that ahead of time so maybe they don't have to spend all this time editing. And if you do still insist on doing a crop or adding a filter or something like that, maybe ask them before you post. When you post that photographer's work to your feed, if you doctored it, you're also misrepresenting that photographer's work, their style and their vision. Your followers are going to look at that post and think that that is what that photographer gave you. And if that's not what the photographer gave you, then that's kind of insulting, that's misrepresentative, and it might make them lose out on work. That's it. That's 10 things to consider when trying to reach out to photographers to get free tests. Before you reach out, during a test shoot, after a test shoot. You're a model. Models do test shoots. And you aren't expected to pay for every single test that you do. So we understand that getting free tests is part of being a model. These tests are going to help you improve your relationship with your agency, improve your opportunity for getting booked because you're going to have fresh images. It's going to improve your network because you're going to meet new people and other people who are going to have an opportunity to book you on set. And the more tests you do, the more your face and your image gets around the social sphere, where more photographers are going to want to reach out to you and say, hey, I'd love to test. That's one of the reasons why you should aspire to want to work with better photographers. Not only because you're going to get better images, but also because better photographers follow better photographers. And if a photographer sees your face on a photographer that they like's page, then there's a higher likelihood that more photographers are going to try and reach out to you and say, hey, I'd love to test with you. And then the ball gets rolling, and then you get more opportunities, and you get more tests, you get more images, and you get your agencies to like you more. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you book more test shoots. Go ahead and subscribe and check back with us. We upload new videos every Wednesday. So thank you, and catch you next time.